right, well, the East-West Shrine Bowl Hall of Fame includes some of the greatest names to ever take the field. Today, we add 2 more iconic names to this prestigious group. I myself have been lucky enough to work with both of them professionally, and you are all in for a treat. We begin with a participant in the 72nd annual East-West Shrine Bowl, a legendary quarterback at BYU, and a man who's had 2 stops in the NFL, as well as remarkable success as a college football coach. Let's take a look back at the football journey of Steve Sarkisian. Steve Sarkisian became one of the most prolific passers in BYU history during his 2 seasons in Provo, Utah.
Steve Sarkisian passing at 70%. He is the leader in pass efficiency in the nation.
While at BYU, Sarkisian threw for nearly 7,500 yards and 53 touchdowns. As a senior in 1996, he led the nation in passing efficiency as the Cougars became the first team in NCAA history to win 14 games in a season. He was named the Western Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year after leading BYU to a conference championship, followed by a victory in the 1997 Cotton Bowl.
Steve Sarkisian, 2nd team All-American, 1st team All-WAC, will lead the West offense here in the first team.
His standout senior season secured a coveted invitation to the 72nd annual East-West Shrine Bowl, where he played in support of the life-changing mission of Shriners Children's. After his playing career concluded, Sarkisian found incredible success on the sideline, leading iconic football programs such as Washington, USC, and Texas as their head coach. In 2023, Coach Sarkisian led the Texas Longhorns to a Big 12 championship and an invitation to the college football playoff, finishing ranked number 3 in the Associated Press final poll, the program's best finish since 2009. Steve Sarkisian now joins another elite group as a member of the East-West Shrine Bowl Hall of Fame. Today's All-Stars, tomorrow's Legends. All right, let's welcome up our East-West Shrine Bowl Hall of Famer, Texas coach Steve Sarkisian. Thanks, Coach. Okay, we'll go ahead and sit down here. All right, our next inductee is one of my favorites. He played in the 76th annual East-West Shrine Bowl in 2001 and had an iconic 16-year career in the NFL as a wide receiver. He's also an NFL Network analyst. Let's look back on the football legacy of Agent 89, Steve Smith.
Wide receiver Steve Smith Sr. played 2 seasons at the University of Utah before a long, successful career in the NFL.
You see this fight? That means I scored.
An all-conference selection in both seasons with the Utes, Smith caught 78 passes for more than 1,600 yards and 12 touchdowns. He also returned 4 punts for scores. Smith played in the 76th annual East-West Shrine Bowl in 2001, where he caught 2 touchdown passes. He was named Offensive MVP after leading the West to a 20-10 win in San Francisco. Smith was drafted by the Carolina Panthers in 2001 and made an immediate impact.
Here he goes. The rookie on his first touch as a professional, all the way for a touchdown.
In 2005, Smith led the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns.
How did he do it? He went up and got it. What a catch!
Welcome Steve Smith into the East-West Shrine Bowl Hall of Fame. Today's All-Stars, tomorrow's Legends.
Congratulations, Steve Smith Sr. Welcome to the East-West Shrine Bowl Hall of Fame. All right, this is the good part. You guys get to know these guys, know about their journey. You know they say that player's got that dog in him? Steve Smith is that guy. It hasn't changed. All right, well, we're going to start with you, Coach Stark, because you have seniority by about 4 bowls. So we'll start with you. What does this mean to you to be up here on the stage and to be honored like this?
It's pretty incredible. Steve and I were talking earlier. We were a couple of junior college kids from Los Angeles. This wasn't, our path wasn't the easiest just to say, oh, this is how it's supposed to go. And so when you find your way on the journey of life and you find some success and you find some adversity and then you keep persevering and you find your way through to some of the accomplishments, and then when you have one like this that kind of takes you back a little bit and it reminds you of what you went through to get to where we are today, it's definitely pretty special.
Steve?
I mean, it's amazing, right? To be able to experience this, and I know more than anything, the Shrine Bowl is here, here in Frisco. But then, on Saturday we have, just as a football community, we have the Senior Bowl. And so I'm just speaking as a former player. There are times you question yourself of the value, and there is a value, and I know it's a value because I was not invited to the Senior Bowl. I was also not invited originally to the Shrine Bowl. Quincy Morgan, who was a receiver at Kansas State, decided that he didn't need to come here. And so, God rest his soul, Gil Brandt called my agent and said, hey, does Steve want to play? And now my family is from Monterey, California. I'm, born and raised in Los Angeles. So for me to be able to play in front of family, second, third generation, my grandmother, all these different people, I was, to some degree at the time, now 23 years later, look back at it, I was sloppy seconds. But unfortunately, without that opportunity, I would have never got the opportunity to be seen by some of the other people. And so for me, I was an alternate, but I took the opportunity to be an alternate to take over the stage. But you have to really accept God's journey for you and just take what is given to you. And for the East West Shrine game, for me, it was my lifeline. It was the only way I could get. I only had my only other bowl game was the Hula Bowl. And so for me, the East West Shrine game and going into the East West Shrine Game Hall of Fame, for me, playing 16 years, all of that stuff, my mind is going back. My wife was pregnant with my 22-year-old daughter. She's 22 today. So for me, it's really just thinking about, for me, it was a blessing, right? It may not seem like it for everybody, and I can't question your thinking, but I can know the blessing that I received. So take it for what it is, because you don't know why or what God is putting in front of you. But you gotta take the horn and take the bull by the horns and really embrace the why.
I love that you say that, because there is so much going on this week. We've got the Pro Bowl, we've got the Senior Bowl. It's easy to sort of get lost in some of that, or social media is so hard with comparison these days, right? What advice would you give to some of these guys out here that, you have an avenue to get your tape out there? You have an avenue to promote yourself, and it goes even further than just the scouts and the agents and the teams that have been here this week. You're in this business too with Texas Scouting. How do you get these teams to notice you and use and leverage this week to their advantage?
Well, it's interesting. I watched practice yesterday at the Senior Bowl, and one thing that stands out, effort doesn't take talent. And you can assess and see in practice the players that are truly exuding maximum effort and the ones that sometimes might be a little too cool for school. Well, that's part of your resume now. That's now written in that notebook, that's in that iPad about what kind of effort is he going to give when now he's getting a real paycheck, right? What is that going to look like for that player? And so practice habits, how attentive you are in meetings, what are you doing with your free time at night? Believe me, they're watching all of that. The teams are looking at all of that. For me, I would say for the players, one thing that came out of it for me, I wasn't as fortunate enough as Steve to get 16 years in the league. I didn't get drafted. My journey was different. I went and spent 3 years in the CFL. I started coaching back in junior college. And then I walked into a man's office at USC to try to become a graduate assistant. And his name was Pete Carroll. And he remembered me from the Shrine game, and he remembered me interviewing me at the Combine. and I got my foot in the door, and I got an opportunity to work with him for 7 years. He's still a great mentor of mine. So you don't know the people you meet along your journey and then the impact that they can have on the rest of your life. And so that's all I would express to all the players here, is that you just don't know, right? You don't know what door can be opened by the way you treat somebody, by the effort you put forth in everything that you do, because somebody in there is watching, and that might have an impact on their opinion of you and maybe an opportunity that they can provide you down the road.
I love that you brought that up, because the unique advantage that a lot of you players have this week is the East-West Shrine Bowl is mixing up the coaching staffs throughout the league. How important is it that these guys get cell phone numbers, stay in touch? Because if it's not playing, it could be coaching down the line.
It's very important. It is very important, because the coach, for me, for the East-West Shrine game, I believe at the time, was Mac Brown. And Mac Brown now is in my backyard in Charlotte, in Chapel Hill, and they have a receiver and quarterback. And they've had a receiver and quarterback for a few years now when they have pro days, and I go down there, and Mac remembers me when he coached me. So I would say this: moving forward, heading into this league, the question I have for these players as you go on the field, the real question is, what do you want people to say about you when they mention your name? Because when they mention your name, they're going to say one or two things. They're going to say good things and they're going to tell a story, or they're going to say bad things and they're going to tell that story. And so this is the time where they're going to watch everything you do, how you talk, do you take notes. You are now no longer a college kid. You are now walking into professional. You're a professional. And I know, because I've made some mistakes myself, and Google reminds you of those mistakes.
Who you telling?
Right? Also, one thing I want to clear up. I think it's very interesting that they have a Utah guy in the BYU.
What was your record?
I noticed none of your highlights were against Utah. Just wanted to.
I was 1-1. I was 1-1.
I broke my neck against against BYU, but we won.
But I do love that you guys bring this up, and because I want to impress that upon a lot of you players, because it is a small fraternity/sorority of folks that talk in the league leading up to the draft. These days, they are constantly asking reporters, cameramen that are interviewing you this week, coaching staffs, how does this person interact? And believe it or not, that becomes part of your narrative. So I think it's really important to make sure that you're on your P's and Q's, because every single moment that you're out here is an interview. I will say, guys, you haven't just been able to spend as much time as I have with some of them this week. Been very impressed with those of you that I've talked to. If you haven't noticed, Steve likes to keep receipts. You've now gone into this Hall of Fame.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
It's two Steves.
Well, you're right. Steve isn't as petty sometimes as you are, C. Smith. You've gone into the North Carolina Hall of Fame. We're still waiting for you to get into Canton. 17 years left of eligibility. How frustrated are you with that?
I'm not frustrated, actually, about it. It's back February 3rd, 2002. I had hired a sports psychologist, and I worked for him for about 9 years. And I had short-term goals, weekly, monthly, intermediate, long-term, professional, personal, and I had a lifetime goal. And on those lifetime goals, it was be the franchise player for whatever organization I play with, be able to afford to buy my parents and in-laws a house, check that off. And then the last was to be a Hall of Famer. For me, growing up in Los Angeles, football was my only way out. It was what I put all my eggs in all my eggs in the basket. It was what I thought was the best way to get out of a current situation that I had growing up. Now that I'm older and I realize it was a very dangerous risk. And now that I'm out of it, I haven't forgotten the rat race I was in. And so for me to be frustrated with God's timing, there's nothing wrong with it, but I have to trust the process. And I'm okay with whatever happens, because for most of my career, I was always waiting for someone to wake me up, because I believe throughout my whole career I was daydreaming. I'm 5'9", 3/4. I'm not supposed to be a dominant outside wide receiver. And for me to play as long as I played and to play the way I played, you know, breaking my neck in college, a C4 burst fracture, man, I'm playing on house money. However, playing in house money, I'm not frivolous or risky. But when it comes, I'm not gonna act like I should have been here. When it comes, I'm just gonna be thankful for it. And it's gonna be a party. And that will—
And I want the invite.
Oh, listen, it's gonna be a long party. But it'll be something that I get to enjoy with all of the different people that have helped me along the way. I am a result of many other people investing time, money, and heart, and a lot of counseling in being comfortable and patient with understanding your journey.
Coach, when you look back on your career, obviously you played, quarterback in college. You were incredibly successful, and then you pivoted. What are some of the things that you wish you had known then that you know now about the journey that you took post-football and just even in your football career?
Well, I think one of the hardest things when you're young and you're successful in sport, and really taking appreciation for the value in the people that you meet. And as I look back and I look at my time at the East-West Shrine Bowl, I look at my time when I was at BYU, I look at my time when I was at El Camino Junior College, right? And even when I was back at West Torrance High School, there was really great people that shaped, impact, motivated me to go on to do great things. And sometimes you can't keep that connection with everybody, but as you move and you grow and you start to navigate and you meet more people and more people open doors and you try to find your way in life, I wish I could go back to so many of those people and tell them thank you for what they were able to do, for the opportunities that they were able to give me, because sometimes you don't recognize it in the moment, right? Maybe it just seems like that subtle handshake or that dinner that you might have with somebody and life keeps moving forward. But then you think back, that was a really impactful dinner. That handshake helped when maybe that guy helped me, talk to the coach at BYU to say, hey, take a chance on this 6-foot quarterback who has no arm, is not a very good athlete, right? So all of those things add up to, here I am, I'm the head coach at the University of Texas. Like, this is crazy. This isn't supposed to happen to a guy from Torrance, California, right? But I am, and I don't take that lightly. I'm very humbled and honored to do that every single day. But then it reminds me of, man, if any advice I could give you guys is value these relationships and these connections you make, because you really don't know. I mean, yeah, we need to live life by a certain standard, right? Do the next right thing, things of that nature. But it's the people you meet that ultimately are the ones that help navigate you and open doors that create opportunity for you in life.
Both of you obviously have experience in the NFL and in the college ranks, and I know something that both Coach Hightower and Coach Kafka have impressed on this group this week is the importance of how you practice and how you prepare, because the game does move faster that first year from college to the NFL. What advice would you have for these guys as they make that transition, and how much truth are their coaches, and how valuable is this experience to get that before you go and join the NFL?
I mean, the NFL is a fast game. It's pace. It's about process. It's about doing the right things, knowing where to be, knowing how to be there, being on time. I would say the biggest thing is ask questions. I think this generation of athletes are different in regards of they see the game a lot differently. You hone in and you got these trainers. But more than anything, ask questions, be an active listener, and do less talking. Because I have a 26-year-old. So I have a 26-year-old and a 22, 18, and 9. So I kind of have learned this generation, and I'm still experiencing this generation, and I would say I am a more successful version of where you're trying to go. So listen, slow to speak and eager to listen, because eventually you'll deal with some coaches, which I've seen in my career, where some coaches will say, you don't need to worry about me coaching you. And I've seen some coaches do it where they stop talking to the player and they stop coaching the player. And then that player, a couple of years later, I'm watching them sell cell phones because they didn't listen. It wasn't because they were less talented. They just didn't listen. And no coach is going to employ you and put their wife and children's private school tuition, gas money into your hands, which is one of the reasons why I don't coach. I'd just rather do TV, because if I screw up, I blame myself.
You know, I think the one thing as a coach, having coached in the NFL, now being back in college, how do you develop trust as a player? As coaches, we're always trying to look for the players that we can trust, that we can count on. Well, trust isn't just about running the right route at the right depth. Are you at the facility early? All right. Are you in the meeting room attentive? Do you have your iPad out? Are you doing extra work, post practice? Are you doing the things that ensure trust in me as a coach? Because there's nothing worse as a coach when it comes down to it. Can I really count on this guy? Can I really trust that guy to be where he's supposed to be, when he's supposed to be there, to make that play in that moment, in the critical moment? So I think all that you could think of that would say, we have an adage at UT is very simple. Trust equals time plus consistency. Can you be a consistent team member, right? That is being where he's supposed to be, on time, doing the things necessary to try to improve your game, to develop the trust in the players in that locker room as you're trying to make that team, to the coaching staff, right? That you're trying to find more playing time to get opportunities on the field. That's a huge component. It's not always how big, how fast, how tall. Can we count on you? Can we trust you? And to me, and Steve knows this better than me, but to me, that's what the great organizations in the NFL have. They've developed a culture of trust, and if they can't trust you, they move on and the next guy gets his opportunity, and they continue to grow that way. And so I would say that's probably one of the biggest components for me, looking at it from a coach's lens.
Well, tomorrow we have the East-West Shrine game. Do you guys have any memories from the event that you'd like to share?
I have a great one. I threw a pick six to a defensive lineman on a screen in an all-star game.
And that's on tape.
To Matt Finkus. So Matt Finkus and Mike Vrabel were teammates at Ohio State.
Wow.
Okay. Finkus plays in the game, and we call a screen, and this guy jumps up and picks it and runs it for a touchtouchdown. That was my highlight of the East-West Shrine game. So clearly,
others might call it a low light.
So clearly, you can get admitted into the Hall of Fame of the East-West Shrine game for some other things than just how you played actually in that game.
I'm not gonna. There's so many things I could say with that, but I'm not gonna.
I love that you shared.
No, I'm not. That was awesome, Coach.
That's the way it goes.
No, I mean, it's true. Those are the highlights that weren't showed up.
Yeah, they did.
But that's the other side of the coin.
That's right.
Right? The head says, we're sitting here. That tells us you've thrown a pick. I've dropped several passes before. It's part of it. It's just, you look at this, you look at and go through this information in this game without any emotion. It's data. And understand that you may not think someone's watching. I have the same film that some of these players have, some of the coaches have. When the game is over, we get it on the DV 360. 2 hours after the game is done, it's already broken up into offense, defense. You can plug in a player you want to see and show. These coaches are going to be watching, because some of these coaches that are coaching you are also coaching to show other teams that they have the ability to be a coordinator, to be a position coach. And so they have things on the line as well. So it all works hand in hand. So you may not believe, or you may be rolling your eyes, and then all of a sudden that coach is coaching you here, may be walking through a locker room that you become in a couple of months. Mm-hmm. So you got to be careful.
That's the truth. That is the truth.
And they don't forget.
Oh, no.
No.
No, they do not. And they write it on paper. I still, my quick story, my agent, when I tore my Achilles in Baltimore heading into my last NFL career season, he sent me, because I was thinking about retirement, he sent me my write-up back 20-something years ago of what they said I was going to be, which is a 5th to 7th round draft pick. And as I was sitting in the bed from double rupture Achilles, I reread it every time I had like a doubt and a thought. And I reread, first of all, I'm not supposed to be here. It said inconsistent, doesn't run the same routes, marginal, small body frame. That was the write-up. It was 2.5 pages, front and back, and it showed everything that all the different scouts had said, and it was a collage of the truth. I looked at the truth and I worked on the truth. And that was the best thing. And so at the end of my career, I was looking at the beginning of my career, which is I was an inconsistent hothead who expected everything to be given to him. And so I had the opportunity to change that narrative.
I hope a lot of you guys are paying attention to this. Well, as we wrap this up, this is ultimately about the kids. You know, it's as much as an opportunity for coaches and players to showcase their talents. At the end of the day, this helps highlight the amazing work that Shriners Hospital does. How much does it mean to you to see some of their faces here? Abby over here, I caught up with her before this. She can tell you everything about baseball, horse racing. Kyle Rudolph is a personal favorite of hers. How much does it mean to be able to play in front of these kids, and while you're doing something for yourself, you're helping others?
Well, I think this, I think in sport, God gave us gifts to go play a game that we love and to be passionate about and be part of a team. But also I think sport inspires others, and it brings a lot of joy, it brings a lot of cheers, it brings a lot of tears. It brings a lot of anguish, right? Sport brings so much out of us, but it also gives us a platform to be role models, to support those that look up to us that way. And so any opportunity like this, what Shriners does is tremendous, and to be connected to this bowl game for so many years, and the opportunities for these players and for us, for that matter, to make this connection to brighten somebody's day. That's what this opportunity has given us. It's given us this platform to inspire others to be more, to enjoy the day, to have one more really good day. And why would we not want to share and give that with the platform that we've gotten?
Shriners is doing a great job, because Shriners and hospital, they're giving to people and things that are unforeseen circumstances. There's no blueprint to how and what these families deal with. And so one of the things I texted my wife this morning that I was struggling with is seeing some of the kids that I was saying I'm a father of 4. I'm thankful that Shriners is here to help, but also what they go through and what these families go through. There is no blueprint for this until Shriners. Shriners has so much experience and they've invested so much time that they take away the hard stuff. And the hard stuff is loving on your children, but also trying to take care and treat yourself through this ordeal, and that's tough. And Shriners gives them an opportunity to balance both. And we all know that one of the biggest things about mental health is trying to balance both. And Shriner takes away one or the other, which makes it the best part. And at the end of the day, Shriner's helping children, but the East-West is helping children with their dream as well.
And more importantly, there's one kid here I'm looking forward to talking to her. She's 16-year-old Libby from Houston. She received treatment at Shriners. She was born and they told her that she would be very limited in her day-to-day. Now she's a manager for a football team, and she wants to be like Lori Locust and draw up plays in the NFL. And seeing Lori out here certainly lets her know that can be possible. Guys, I've enjoyed talking with you. I hope that as players you've soaked in a lot of what they've said. Those of us covered have seen that everything they're saying is not just It's not just lip service, but congratulations can go to two better guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.